or wanted certain items covered. So just from the responses that I got. So a question that I received was sources for fundamental information other than Forex Factory. Pretty much any place where you get news. Fundamentals is the news. So that can be Forex Factory. Forex Factory just has a more clean, streamlined calendar of the news, but it can be anywhere. Um, okay, so I went through, I pulled up a few sites where you can just go through and get news. Um, so obviously Forex Factory, because the calendar is here. The calendar is what you're wanting to pay attention to every day. You're wanting to know what's going on. So that's why I always refer back to Forex Factory, because the calendar is here. You can click through. You can make this calendar look and be whatever you want it to be. So like right now, this is the weekly view. So you're just scrolling through, looking through the week. Um, Websites like Daily FX, you can go to websites like this, but you have to hunt for the information you're really looking for. And you can go here to economic calendar, but I'm telling you, it's not going to give you the full Forex calendar. There's a reason why I picked forexfactory.com. And then even on Forex Factory, if you scroll all the way down, so if you just go to forexfactory.com and you scroll, these news items right here, like they're the exact same news items you would get from Bloomberg. They're news items that you would be getting from CNN, CNBC, Fox Business News. You can scroll down, you can see hot topics that people are really chatting about across the whole internet. You can scroll down and see forums and groups about supply and demand. You can look, they're sometimes talking about different pairs. So Forex Factory, and look, it even gives you like it gives you an account and it shows you like traders and what types of trades they're in. Not that you would follow that, but it gives you an idea of the sentiment of the market, of how emotional, like where are people putting their money. And then it also tells you the session. So that there's a reason why I picked Forex Factory, because if you go to websites like Daily FX, you're going to be searching across this website across 10 different pages to find everything that you need. So if you look here, there are countries on here you don't need to look at, like Brazil. Like, why would you need to look at Brazil unless you're trading commodities? Israel, Mexico, like it's a lot of stuff on here that's not important. The only thing that will be of any importance is the market news, and even that. Um, so when you're asking me where are sources to get news and sources to get fundamental education and information other than Forex Factory, you need to know and understand the economy. It's not like you're just going to go somewhere and get this information. I've been doing this since I was 8. Like I can hear news, I can hear Biden speak right now, and he can be talking about healthcare. I can put 10 different things together that I've learned over the years and make an educated trade off of that one sentence. You have to learn these things. Like it's stuff that you go through and really gain experience with. Um, that's a reason why I showed you guys the video, that economic video. Like you really need to be able to, if I ask you what makes the economy tick, um, if I ask you anything about supply and demand in the market, if we talked about jobs, if we talked about interest rates, all that stuff was covered in the video. You should be able to tell me the who, what, when, where, why, and how of anything that's in that video. That is going to give you the strong foundation. Then you can take news items and you can start putting them together and really making an educated decision about trades. Um, and then as far as like what kind of data am I looking for? Anything. Like it's news. Whatever's happening in the news, Biden can come on right now and start talking. I'm paying attention. If they're talking about anything that remotely relates to the economy, so prices, jobs, interest rates, the Fed, money, stimulus, war, gas, oil, like it all matters. All that ties into our economy, and that's going into understanding how the economy of the United States works. What makes it up? What is our biggest export? What is our biggest import? You really need to know that. That's what we're going to cover on Wednesday. And I'm trying to give it to you in digestible pieces so that you get it and I'm not overwhelming you because, like I said, this is years of information I'm trying to give to you guys between now and like February, uh, which is like next week. So I'm giving you the information. I'm trying to give you the information, the um the resources and the websites and stuff that I'm sending you to. I'm sending you to places where you're going to be able to get the information right in front of you. You can use Daily FX and you can explore the website if you like to. You can also go to FX Street. Um, but as I said, these websites are going to give you a ton of stuff in front of your face. A lot of it you don't need. Like these articles right here are talking about levels in the market. You don't need that stuff when you have Mr. Levels. So I'm like, why even send you here if that's what most of the news is like? If you want information on how different items that show up on Forex Factory work, how they're integrated into the economy. If you want more information about, let's say, like non-farm payroll or consumer price index, Investopedia. You can get information on Investopedia about stocks, futures, options trading, Forex trading. It's all here. Um, you just have to come up to the top and search for whatever you're wanting to look for. So you can search for non-farm payroll. For instance, if you want to look, get ready for next week's job numbers. And then you can start looking at the articles and the information that they have here. So, how do you trade non-farm payroll? How to trade Forex news releases? 6 signs of economic recovery. So, all of those things tie into job numbers because jobs are kind of what make the economy go and really work because that's how people earn money. Um, So yeah, I would say if you really want just information about individual pieces that you see on Forex Factory, Investopedia will be good. The other two sites I mentioned, they're resources. I don't use them often because I find that Forex Factory has everything that I need. Another one that I'm thinking of is investing.com. So investing.com is a pretty good um, source for just getting news, like just flat out news. They have an app. You can set notifications for the news items that pop up. And then these news items you can use to trade because the thing about Forex that you guys have to remember is that it's a seesaw. You're never going to be trading something by itself. It always has to have something else to go along with it. So when we're looking at EU, Euro USD, we're looking at the economy of the Eurozone, which is 18 countries, compared to the economy of the United States. We're comparing the two and we're making a decision based off of what's going on. So, um, I'll give you an even better example, Brexit. So, when Brexit started happening in 2016, that was detriment, that was like horrible for the UK's economy. So, if you look at GBP USD, we're comparing the economy of the UK to the economy of the United States. Brexit was not a good thing. So that strengthened the dollar compared to the pound. So whenever you're looking at Forex news and you're trying to determine your pairs, you're trying to determine how to trade things, remember that you have to go and look at the other country's economy as well. That's why I said at the very beginning that it all matters. All news matters because it's part of the economy. It wouldn't be put out there if it wasn't important or if it wasn't going to trigger an emotional response in the marketplace to get people to trade or pull their money out. Like, you got to remember, like, everything they put out in the news is to get a response from the people. So I'm just going to graze through the Forex Factory calendar. Um, and one thing I will say too about the Forex Factory calendar, you'll notice that almost all major news items are here. Some of the other Forex Factory or some of the other economic calendars, they miss news items, and it's harder to sort through the news items, and they don't give you the folders, they don't give you a lot of the charts and graphs that Forex Factory does. That's why I'm partial. It's not the only Forex calendar out there, but it definitely is one that gives you everything right in front of your face. Okay, so I'm gonna start with tomorrow. The biggest thing that we're looking forward to tomorrow, as I told you guys before, is consumer confidence. So when you click on these folders, you can click on the link, you can go to conference board, you can look at previous consumer confidence numbers. But the one thing I want you guys to always remember and think about is how these numbers are formed. And we'll start talking about this a little bit more also on Wednesday. But just because this one's coming out tomorrow, I'm going to show you here. So how is this information derived? Like, how do they actually get consumer confidence numbers? Some people will say they never ask me. They don't ever ask me or my family those questions. Yeah, they do. We just ignore them because when you get the little pop up on your phone as a text message or you get an email that says, "Hey, do you want to participate in this survey?" A lot of people just like delete it. But a lot of times it comes from these, not all of them, but some of them could be from these, excuse me, third party sources that actually show up on Forex Factory. So I was scrolling through my email one day and actually had an email from Conference Board, and I participated in one of the surveys that they had, and it ended up being a consumer confidence or some type of consumer interest in the economy type survey. And so here they ask 3,000 households. So they send out information to 3,000 households. They're asking questions. And the questions that they really ask and the things they want to know is, um, so how do you feel about your job? Is your job stable? Do you feel that in the next 6 to 12 months you will still be working at that current job? Has your manager, has your boss said anything to you about work conditions? Or have you received an email pertaining to work conditions? How do you feel about the economy? Do you feel that the economy is stable? Do you feel like the economy is growing? And it really asks questions to try to get at the heart of how people are feeling. They're asking about people's emotions. towards the economy and towards their job. Because if people aren't confident that they're going to have a job, or they're not confident in the market, this number is going to be low. And then that's going to signal to economists, it's going to signal to the Fed, it's going to signal to the government that, hey, people don't have a strong confidence in what we're doing right now. So we need to do something to boost the morale, so to say, of the American people. So that's why they care about that. Because if people don't feel like they're going to have a job in 6 to 12 months, then that really speaks to how we need to change the labor market. Maybe there needs to be stimulus given towards businesses to help them either increase pay or increase production to give people more hours or give people more money. So that's why that survey matters. Um, we have Australian news coming out. Sorry, I was trying to get my thoughts together. CPI, so it's the Consumer Price Index. So that same news that we look at here in the US, that same type of information that was talked about in the economy video that we looked at, it a lot of these news items, you're going to see them over and over again for different countries. They apply the exact same way. So when we look at CPI numbers for Australia, the Q/Q means quarter over quarter, which means we're going to be looking at the very last quarter at the end of 2020 compared to the third quarter. So it's always the quarter before the one that we're in and the quarter before that. So we'll be looking at how prices changed in the Australian economy. It's going to be the exact same thing. So how would you trade this type of news? If you see consumer price index news for the Australian dollar, and you know we just had consumer price index news for the US not too long ago, if the news from the US was good and the news from the Australian dollar is bad, you can say with some level of assurance that the Aussie dollar versus the US dollar, the AU, is probably going to be down off of that news. But what is it that you have to remember? You have to remember the US side of it. You have to remember what the US news was in this pair, which is why Forex Factory is great, because you can just scroll. I'm not going to do it because it's going to cause a lag, but you can just click through on the weekly view. You can just click and find the US Consumer Price Index news, see what it was, and then look here to see when this news comes out what it's like for the Australian dollar. So another thing that kind of help tie all of this together and get your mindset in a good place when it comes to your trades is don't be in so many different trades with so many different countries, because that's just more news that you're going to have to try to keep track of and pay attention to. US dollar pairs are good because you live in the United States. For the most part, everybody's here in the US. You're here, you're getting all the US news. You have access via .com, .net, .org. You don't have to go to a .au or a .uk website for another country to get news. It's right here in front of you. And then pick other countries to compare it to that have, um, either good volume or volatility when it comes to trading, or ones that, Mr. Level shows. Most of those are US dollar trades. Like, pick like one or two if you're having a hard time following with fundamentals, because if you're picking one pair, that's two countries. You're picking two pairs, then that's three countries if you're sticking with USD pairs. So don't make it hard on yourself. Just make it so that you are only following a certain number of countries. And then as you get how those economies move, you need a good year to year and a half to really understand how an economy fully works for a country. And then even then, everything changes here in the US every 2 and then every 4 years because of our election cycle. So don't make it hard on yourself. Wednesday is where I'm going to stop, and I'm just going to talk about FOMC, which is our Open Market Committee statement. So this is going to be super important news, like super important news. So a lot of you say you don't trade news because, you don't understand it, or you're afraid of the news that's going to come out. FOMC and non-farm payroll, I feel like, are the two biggest news items that come up on the Forex Factory calendar that you have to understand. That's why I spent a lot of time on NFP, and I'm going to spend a little bit of time now talking about the federal, our open market committee, solely because this is our Fed. This is the money um, printing machine, so to say. It, along with our central government, help to, put out policies and regulate our dollar. Interest rates are the big thing that I want you guys to pay attention to in the midst of all of this. It comes from the video we watched. We know what happens when interest rates change. This interest rate is not going to change. If they change this interest rate, um, if it goes down, we're in really big trouble with our economy. If it goes up, then the Fed lied and has been lying for the last year and 2 months. Um, so I don't expect this to change. The Fed has already said that this rate was going to stay the same for the next like couple years or so. So there's very little chance that that will move. With FOMC news, it all happens simultaneously. So this statement is going to be released. So the news stations, they get this statement anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes before it's actually released, so they can actually print the headline that you see on the screen. So at 2 o'clock, you're going to see breaking news if you're watching Bloomberg or CNBC or Fox Business News. You're going to see the breaking news. You're going to see a headline posted. That's the reason why they can post the headline. They get this news early, and it'll be a statement. So if you want to read it in its entirety, you click on this link. It'll take you to the Federal Reserve website. You can read it. I highly encourage you guys to actually go through and read it, see what it says, because that's really is what is going to determine our economy going forward for the next quarter or so. Sometimes there's data in there for years, um, maybe 2 years worth of economic data in there. There's charts, there are graphs. So you want to know how the Fed puts all of this information together in these reports, and reading them, seeing how they vote, seeing who participates, because it's not just Jerome Powell and the 12, regions showing up. It's economists, it's statisticians, it's their secretaries, it's assistants, it's grad students from universities. It's literally like, if you look at the very first page, sometimes the second page, it'll show you everybody who was there. And it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people that sit in on these meetings, make decisions for our economy. So know who these people are. I mean, I've seen professors from Harvard and Yale on there before. So they bring in a lot of people to make decisions for our economy that aren't just government officials. And then on top of all of that, that's coming out at 2 o'clock, you're going to get this press conference. So it's going to be webcasted. So if you're at work, you'll be able to pull up the webcast. They'll have it up on the Federal Reserve website. They'll have it up on the Federal Reserve YouTube page, and then you can go through and like watch it again later if you just happen to miss it. But this is what you don't want to be in a trade for. Um, some people trade FOMC news. I used to. I just don't anymore because usually I'm at work. This is where you don't want to be in a trade if you're new and you don't know what you're doing. And I'm not even saying that to be funny. I'm saying that from experience because I was once the person that was like, "Oh, I'm going to trade it because there's so much volatility." US dollar pairs, gold, silver, US 30, SPX 500, NAS 100, those things can move hundreds and even thousands of pips off of what Jerome Powell says. I've watched Euro USD move like 150 pips, and typically it only moves like about 30 a day. So it did 5 times its daily volume off of a press conference. I've watched US 30 move like 3,000. So if you don't know what you're doing, I would highly suggest that on Wednesday, open up your demo account and watch the wicks, watch the price movement, and just really pay attention to how things move. Um, like I said, this news that's coming out at 2 o'clock, I don't expect that the rate's going to change that much. What I'm really looking forward to hearing, not only from the statement, but from the press conference, is us talking about how the previous 2 stimulus packages have worked, us talking about the actual stock market, since that's become a thing now in the last 4 years, talk about the stock market and how the stock market has actually boosted productivity. I want to hear boosted productivity. I want to hear jobs, because part of the Fed's mandate is stable prices and maximum employment. So they do have a piece in controlling and trying to maintain healthy job levels. So definitely want to hear what they're going to say about jobs, because with Biden cutting the Keystone XL pipeline, that's going to put 10,000 or so people into the job market who are going to need jobs or will be part-time. So the Fed's going to have to account for that. And then digital currency, we've kind of talked about that a little bit. And then just our overall economy. Do we really need another stimulus package? And if we get another stimulus package, how is that really going to affect our economy? And what is the Fed prepared to do with interest rates if we do get another stimulus package? And let's say COVID goes a little bit longer, or COVID um, ends, not so much that it ends, but the ramifications, the things that we're feeling, the shutdowns and the travel restrictions, I should say. What if those things end sooner? Then that means inflation is going to creep up higher. So does that mean now that you're going to have to increase interest rates? If COVID goes longer, does that mean you're going to have to take interest rates to zero? I want to know what kind of tools. You'll hear them talk about a tool belt. Um, what kind of things do you still have left in the tool belt should the economy shift one way or the other? So that's what's going to be really important on Wednesday. The Fed statement should be about 3 to 10, maybe 20 pages. The press conference could be a couple hours. So the volatility from this press conference is going to start around 1:30 in the afternoon, and it's going to go all the way to the end of the market day. So just make sure you're paying attention to all of that. And now that I'm looking at Thursday's news, we should get a little bit of what's coming out Thursday. So we should get a little bit of the GDP, which is still the economy, and expectation for unemployment claims, which is still jobs on the Fed's end. Because the Fed on Wednesday, by the time this news comes out, at 2 o'clock, they will already know what the GDP news is going to be like for the next day. They're not going to speak too much to it because that would just give away the whole next market day. But they will kind of hint towards um, what the economy could possibly look like, as far as production, our imports, what we take in, what we send out, and how that's going to continue to affect our economy. Is it getting better? Has it gotten worse? What can we do to improve it? So that's FOMC. There's a lot more to it, but for what you guys need to know for Wednesday, that's it. That's what I think, and kind of have a feeling of what they're going to talk about. Um, you will start getting the feeling and having an idea of what they're going to talk about too, like when you go through and read the statements and read the speeches, because you'll start to see very common threads in everything that they say. Certain times of the year, they'll say things one way, different, like the end of the year they might say it a different way because they're unsure about the next year potentially. If the Fed doesn't know, you'll see that. So the Fed is very obvious in how they put out their information. It's just you need to be able to understand it, and reading the statements, reading the speeches, that'll definitely get you started, especially whenever it comes to just understanding the economy and how the people that actually make the decisions because it's all there in front of you. So, that being said, I'm done. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Levels so that he can get started with the technicals.
Cool beans. All right, cool beans. No. All right, cool beans. Having a little bit of technical difficulty, so I'm gonna be doing this off my phone tonight. My laptop acting crazy, but no worries, we still gonna get it done. Um, all right, can y'all see my screen? See the chart? Cool beans. All right. As always, we're gonna start with the dollar. Looking at the dollar at the current price level that it's at, I want to see if it hold above this orange price level that you see I have marked. If we can get U30, I'm sorry, if we can get the dollar to hold above this price structure right here, then I would like to see the dollar continue to push to the upside. However, if we break below that price level, I would wait for the dollar to come back and give us a retest and continue to sell to the downside. So with that being said, let's look at our currency pairs. Starting with Euro USD, we know that Euro USD move in the opposite direction of the dollar. So if the dollar holds that level and continue to push to the upside, then I would expect Euro USD to continue to push to the downside. I would like to see Euro USD come back down and retest the blue price level that you see I have marked at the bottom. That should give us a movement of about 100 pips. So I'll be keeping my eyes out for Euro USD for the sale. However, if the dollar breaks below that price level and come back and retest and hold it and continue to sell, then of course I would like to see Euro USD push to the upside and retest the grade area. And then we will wait to see how Euro USD reacted off of that price structure. So that's what we'll be looking at for Euro USD. Looking at GBP USD, I would like to see GBP USD continue to push to the downside. If we get the upward move from the dollar, and if we get the downward move from the dollar, then of course we would be looking to long GBP USD. I will send something out when I see something. I'll be looking to see something around London Open. See if she give us a wick up into this engulfing candle. Here. See if we get price to come up in there and then sell off. So that's what I'll be expecting to see from GBP USD, a push up and then a sell off. That's if the dollar continue to push to the upside. But if we can break the structure and continue to push down for the dollar, then I would of course expect to see GBP USD continue to push up, retest previous highs. So moving on to Nzd USD. Yeah. I want to see Nzd USD get back down into this orange price level, this orange structure here. Break that level, give us a retest and continue to push to the downside if we get that upward move from the dollar. Y'all know that I've been waiting on Nzd USD to come back down here and retest this price level here for a while. Still waiting on that. So right now, just monitoring Nzd USD, being patient, waiting for the move. But I do want to see her get up under that orange structure. If she do get up under that structure and give us a retest, then that'll be our sell opportunity to sell her down to the price level that I'm waiting for to hit down here at 0.68621. So that's what I got for Nzd USD. Let's check out Bitcoin. Y'all already know what it is with Bitcoin by the dip. We've been getting some good bounces off the structure that I had charted out. Now we just gotta another retest. And I would like to see Bitcoin continue to push up and break the structure above it. Give us a retest and hold that structure, then we can look to go ahead and buy Bitcoin on up to retest previous highs at 38,000, 39,000, and up to 42,000. So that's what we're looking at for Bitcoin, but we already know the motto, buy the dip with Bitcoin. Let's look at silver. Yeah, silver giving me that push up. I want to see silver come up into this engulfing candle and give us a sell off before we continue the upward move. So that's what I'll be looking for silver. Looking at gold, same thing. Want to see gold come up, sell off of the engulfing candle here. Give us a downward move. To come down and retest 1786, 1776. So that's what I'm looking for out of gold. And last but not least, my baby, U30. We see we got U30 to come down and retest the grade price level that I wanted it to retest when the market opened up today. And then we got the retest of it, and then price bounced off of it real nicely. Then broke back above the price structure that I had marked. And now I'm just waiting on that retest to see if price holds that that sniper entry right there, that price level here. The engulfing candle, sniper entry, whatever you want to call it. Support, all that right here. My bad. But yeah, right there. So if we get price to come down in there and respect that, then I want to see price continue to push up to the upside. However, if price comes below there and retests it and respect it and can't break back above it, then I would expect to see price continue to sell out. So that's something we'll have to be patient and wait and see. But I feel good about the trading week, y'all. So it's gonna be another great trading week. I'm gonna let Ghost go if he got anything, and then I'll take questions and we'll wrap it up. It's on you, Ghost. Is Ghost still on? I gotta mute him. Give me a second, y'all. All right, there you go, bro.
All right. Did you? So can I share my screen?
Should be able to.
Let me see. Share screen. Okay, let me do this right here. Let me clear that out. I'll start this over. U30 did a nice move to that level. It wicked a little bit to the bottom of it, but it's been given that same bounce for the past. I don't know if anybody here follow me on Instagram, but I gave this out on Instagram. I believe it was Friday. U30 been bouncing off the same level. It did a fake move to the downside, but it still came back in within that 4 hour. So it's definitely been playing around on these levels right here. Same thing. Hold on. Let me get this right here. It's been actually consolidated through this since when they pull over here. Since the 6th, they've been bouncing off these levels. So if anybody like really paid any attention, these was sells, these was buys, sells, buys, sells, buys. It's been giving it to us. It's been giving it to us the whole time. If no one wants to trade in here, even though these are big movements, because this is the 4-hour chart, I would say to wait for the absolute break and retest to go up, or break or retest to come down. Not just coming down here. This is not a break. Anybody looking, this is not a break, because even though it came down during that 4 hours, it's still pushed back up. The buyers have been stepping in. Every time it gets to this level, the buyers has been stepping in, and every time it gets to this level, the seller's been stepping in. This been going on, like I said, since the 6th of January. So this is a significant level, top and bottom. I mean, I've been taking sells at the top, buys at the bottom. I haven't held all of them because I really don't know if it's going to break, and I haven't want to risk giving all my profit back. I held this sell to about right here. But other than that, I just been eating off the top and the bottom of these two structures. This has actually been a blessing because this is easy to see. I think whoever's on a call now, you always got to mark off your consolidation, the top and the bottom, and you could kind of ping off of them, buy, sells, buy, sells. But I believe the big move is going to come. I'm waiting for the big move to come. A clear break, retest to the downside, or excuse me, or a clear break to the upside, y'all. So I'm just waiting for that right now. I'm going to continue to take my my buys and sells off these structures right here. But off my sells and my buys off these structures right here until we get a clear break. And once we get a clear break and it comes back, I'll take a buy up or a clear break and take a buy down. But right now, I'm going to keep taking my sells off these structures right here until something different happens. I rode this sell earlier, but I took my profit right here at the structure because it's been bouncing off this area. I didn't get this whole ride down. I didn't get that whole ride down. I just been taking it, being cautious and taking it right here. Top and bottom right on these structures right here. So I'm just really waiting for the break. Well, if we keep pinging on this for the rest of the month, I'll just keep, this is free money, top and bottom. So other than that, I'm just waiting. So all I got, all I trade is a US 30. I'm gonna start doing some GBP pairs if anybody trades the London session, because I like the way they move, but if you're not going to be up during London trading them, it really doesn't make sense if you're not going to be up during London trading them. So if anybody wants me to trade some of the GBP sessions, I will. I will to chart them, I will, and I'll start doing it on the Zoom call. But again, if you're not really trading the that London time frame, you're really gonna do a disservice to yourself because that's when it really moves. I think Mr. Levels got everything else pretty much covered. He even got U30 covered, but I just give my perspective on that because I trade that also. Anybody got any questions? I'm here, or Mr. Levels is here.
Cool beans, cool beans. Appreciate you, brother. Always appreciate you. See you in the market streets in the morning. Cool beans. Anybody got any questions?
I got one more thing to say. It'd be kind of dangerous. I mean, of course, I know me and you've been taking trades in the middle of this, based off of certain candlesticks. But when you taking if you haven't been doing this for a while, this is U30. I would be patient and wait for the buys down here and the sells up here. I wouldn't be taking a buy or sell in the middle of this right here, unless you really know what you're doing, really know what you're looking for.
10-4, 10-4. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with that. 10-4. Somebody asked to look at Ethereum. Let me see.
Yeah, I was talking. I couldn't answer the phone. My bad.
All right, so
Oh shit! Just let me know when you're here.
okay. Your mic still on, bro. Ethereum, cool beans. Okay, somebody had me look at Ethereum last week, and this is what I charted out for you. So if this is the same person asking me to look at Ethereum, then this is the same markup from last week, or whoever asked me to look at it last week, it's the same markup. So I told you if Ethereum broke below the structure to sell it, and I told you that I do want to see Ethereum come down to like 800 down to $800 at that bottom orange structure. So Ethereum broke through, came back and retested, gave you a good sell. But then it pushed back up to the structure, consolidated within the structure for a little bit, and then broke out to the upside. And so I do expect for Ethereum, if we don't get back below this orange structure that we're at now, then I do expect Ethereum to continue to push to the upside. Anybody else got any questions? Let me I gotta unmute everybody. Okay, y'all can unmute. Any questions? Anybody?
No, it's understandable. Thank you. Understand
Cool.
the levels more and more, a little bit better all the time. So that's good. Thank you.
That's what it's about. Consistency, and we're gonna get there.
Yeah. More and more comfortable all the time.
Yes, sir. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Anybody else got anything for me? Cool beans. Well, as always, everybody, man, it's been great. Appreciate everybody tuning in. As always, let your family and your friends know you love them while they still here. See y'all Wednesday night. And as always, peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love. Good night, everybody.
Good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Night, everybody.
Night.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.